You ready?
You eat?
Do you remember how to do this?
No!
You have no idea?
No!
Alright, well I'm going to hit some buttons and see what happens.
Okay.
Let's hit that button. Let's hit that button.
Welcome to the Wildcast podcast, coming to you from Wildcast Studios, with your hosts Adam Lund and Jeremy Boucher.
Welcome into Wildcast Studios for another episode of the Wildcast podcast, your unofficial voice for all things Moncton Wildcats, presented by Alpha's Appliance Solutions right now till January 17th. New Year Kitchen Suite Savings Event. I wondered you couldn't do the Boxing Day anymore, so I wasn't sure what you were going to do. Save $150 when you purchase 2 qualifying Maytag or Whirlpool major kitchen appliances. Save $300 when you purchase 3 or more qualifying Maytag appliances. I am your host, Adam Lund, and I am joined by, a writer for Rocket Sports, QMGHL, via the Hockey News. We both made it back from Ontario. Your favorite co-hoster, Mr. Jeremy Boucher. Buddy, it's been, a couple weeks. How you doing?
It's doing well. Yeah, it's been, December
18th.
18th?
Yeah.
Was it the 18th?
Yeah.
Holy. I guess so. Yeah, so it's been
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
It's been a time.
It's been a long 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's good to be
Lots
back.
changed.
First episode of 2024.
Yeah.
A lot has changed. Yeah. There's,
You had a much easier flight than I did.
not the way up.
Yeah. No.
Not the way up.
Oh yeah, you were delayed on the way up.
Yeah, I was. I got to the Moncton Airport at, for some reason, 5:15 for a 7:30 flight. I don't know why, and we didn't take off till about 11 o'clock.
Wow.
So yeah, it was. The weather was fine. A little windy,
Yeah.
but
I thought you got stuck in Ontario.
no, there was. I don't know what the reason was. It was, like I said, clear skies, but it was really windy. But I think the entire Newfoundland contingency of the Rothsay Netherwood hockey team was also at the airport, flying out to Newfoundland on PAL Airlines, and PAL Airlines was on time. But Air Canada, our always trusted national airline, is some reason delayed.
Something. Going to Alberta was fine. Had 0 issues. Up at 5, connected, made it to Alberta, 11 o'clock, in the rental, driving all over that godforsaken big-ass province. And coming home was a different story. Getting ready to drive the 3 hours back to Edmonton Airport, and about 3 hours before we're getting ready to leave, cling! Oh, good, our flight's delayed from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock in the morning. Well, there goes our connection.
Yep.
And yeah, then we got delayed in Montreal for 4 hours, delayed in Toronto for 6 hours, and then just we're getting ready to fly. They're like, just kidding. The flight from Montreal is delayed, so we got to wait and clean up the plane and refuel it, and so you're gonna wait another hour and a half. So yeah, I got home at 2 a.m. on January 2nd.
Brutal.
And made sure to let my boss know I was not going to make it in for that day, or I would have been a zombie. So you had a good Christmas though, once you actually got there and everything was good.
Yeah, once we got there, it was good. It was pretty relaxing. There was not much going on.
Yeah. Santa visit you, get everything you wanted.
Santa got to me. Had my 3 Christmases, and
Which is 3 turkeys.
There was 3 turkeys.
Oh.
Yeah, which was nice. But I mean, there's 2 turkeys on actual Christmas morning, Christmas Day, excuse me, and then another one on. Do we have turkey on New Year's? No, we had ham on New Year's. So there was 2 turkeys on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
And then we did a ham on New Year's.
And you guys were back here for New Year's?
Yeah, we were back. Well, we were back at Boxing Day, so it was just a quick little 5-day trip. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were gone for a little longer than that.
No. So yeah, got sick on Boxing Day, and like everybody else, I got sick over the holidays because there's so much garbage around right now. And so I was sick on Boxing Day, felt fine on New Year's Day, and now it's starting to catch up to me again.
Yeah, no, got there. My niece missed her Christmas concert the Friday before and was down, and then she kind of got better, and then her mom got the sickness, so then I got the sickness being in there. So I had just a head cold for the week.
Yep.
But yeah, no, we had a nice little trip. Got to go to Olds, see my daughter's store that she's running, see where she lives, see the life she's living. I was hoping to go to a Red Deer Medicine Hat game but did not happen, sadly. But yeah, it was hayriding around town, checking lights out. It was nice to be home this time when it wasn't minus 40, which they're gonna get on Friday.
I saw
but
that.
2 years ago when we went home, it was like plus 8 here, and it was minus 18 with a wind chill of minus 32 or something stupid
remember
like
you saying that to me.
for the week. And so this week that week was much nicer to just have the same kind of weather. I think I wore my coat like twice.
Yeah.
Maybe could have contributed to the cold, but I wore my coat like twice while I was there. So
I was wearing shorts in Ontario.
Yeah?
I was hoodie and shorts. I was loving the weather.
yeah, no, I always said I wanted a white Christmas, and then I had this last Christmas without it, and I'm like, it's not the worst thing in the world. All my friends with skidoos in small town were like, this sucks. Christmas Day, we can't do anything. We just open our presents and stare at our families and stuff. World Juniors, you watch it?
I watched it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thoughts?
My prediction of Canada not getting a medal came true.
It did. It did. Yeah. Did you pick the States to win though?
I picked.
Don't remember if you did. I know you thought they were good.
I knew they were
I don't know
good.
how they won without Cole
I
Eiserman.
actually had. I thought Slovakia was going to have a nice run, and they did go on a nice run, but then they ran into that stupid Finnish team in the quarterfinals, and that was it. I think if they would have got past Finland, they probably would have been playing in the gold medal game.
Well, they almost would have. Yeah, Finland should have been playing the States because our friend Jonas Tybel and Miles Mueller were absolutely screwed by Swedish officiating. That just that win for what that would have done for Switzerland, that probably would have been, I think, their best finish. I think maybe they had a 4th place finish at one of the tournaments back in the Nino Niederreiter days when he carried his team on the back. But I mean, that was just, it was gutting to watch that kind of officiating.
That was such a. Yeah, the refereeing was questionable. It always is when it's European referees.
And it wasn't just the court; like it was the whole thing. The geeky being too tall. Which look, IHF has head hit rules, and it is what it is. You got to know what the rules are.
It's
but
just not a penalty. It's a clean
the penalty on Canada that turned out to be absolutely nothing. Like they're reviewing it, we're all thinking it's at least 2, and it comes out nothing. Like it was just bad officiating from the get go. But I mean, the States, for all that I read online, they were going to be a powerhouse team at this World Junior. And Canada's unfortunate is we have 4 great players at the World Junior or in the NHL.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like in the U.S., I mean, are going to be just as good next year in Ottawa. They've got 9 guys coming back. So they're going to be just as good. So they're probably the favorites again in Ottawa. And I'm not sure exactly how Canada's lineup's going to look next year, but I mean, there's a chance that
I think there's some
2 17-year-olds on the team next year. There's going to be Michael Misa that could make the team next year. There's going to be Gavin McKenna that could make the team next year. Am I missing someone? Is there another phenom out there that I'm missing that might make the team?
Not that I haven't seen any early predictions, but not that
those are really the only 2 that I can think of.
Yeah.
So
but they should have a few players coming back too.
Yeah. I think I can't remember how many are back, but the goalie that didn't see any action.
St. Hilaire?
No,
Ratzlaff or whatever his name is.
Ratzlaff, yeah. He didn't. He was. I think he's back next year. He's a 05, so he'll be back. But I mean, it would have been nice for him to see some action.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen. And I think Ty Nelson's will be back. I can't think of the names off the top of my head, but Canada will have a good team, and they'll also have some young talent, and
they have the home ice.
They have the home ice, and you never know what happens from now until then. Maybe Russia's back. You never. But I guess they've already done the grouping, so that's probably not going to happen.
Kazakhstan is the greatest country in the world.
That's right.
Yeah,
Kazakhstan will be there, and Borat will be there.
In Canada's division too, I do believe. But it's
Canada's in the group of death next year.
Yeah. Did you stop watching after Canada was eliminated?
No.
No.
I kept watching.
I only did because I went back to work because they did, but I still don't tell my boss.
Yeah.
But I had my little phone in the corner under my can. No sound, but I had it on there so that I could. Yeah. But I turned the Finland Slovakia game on, or Finland Czech game on that they scored like 4 goals in 30 seconds or something like that.
Did I pay attention to it? No.
No.
It was on in the background.
Yeah.
But I was more focused on my work, and
It's that 6 a.m. wake-up call.
Oh,
in
that's
Alberta.
no problem for
Yeah.
me. I was
Yeah,
awake
for
every
you.
morning for 6 o'clock. I was watching the 6 o'clock games. I was, but it was obviously disappointing finish for Canada. Tough break on that goal, and there's not much you can do. That's something happens probably pretty much every night in the NHL. A shot off a defenseman's skate into their own net.
And what's funny is I saw it, I was like, oh man, that sucks. I look up, I'm like, oh shit, 11 seconds left. That is really I thought there was 3-4 minutes left. I was like, all right, and it's a tough goal. You can bounce back. 11 seconds. I'm like, nope. That's that'll kill a tournament.
Not gonna recover.
Nope.
So no, well, tough break, and we'll get him next year.
Miles showed out really well.
Yeah, Miles had a good tournament. Jonas had a really good tournament.
Jonas had a really good tournament. Some had a pretty good tournament for Germany,
Yeah.
who avoided relegation. So good on them. Hell's Kitchen. Jason's finally gone. Jason's finally gone. Took basically to the Black Jackets, but first time in history, 6 Black Jackets instead of 5, and both our people are still there, and Sammy and Jonathan.
I was ready to break my TV because I was like, well, I understand he made a pass to Dish, but it was a really good pass to Dish, and he says, and Gordon Ramsay gives it to Lee, and I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me, man. It's but no, I'm happy. It's a really solid top 6, and probably one of their better top 6 finishers that they've had in quite a while. It's there's been times where the past few seasons you can kind of know who's going to be final 2.
Mm-hmm.
This season it's up for grabs.
No, I would not shock me if it was Ryan and Jonathan.
Mm-hmm.
Now they usually like to have. Well, you watch more than me. They usually have a guy and a girl, don't they? Or is it just no? I think the past couple seasons have been a guy versus a girl, but I think this could be the year that it's Jonathan versus Ryan.
Yeah. No, and even Demir's still in it, right?
Yeah, Demir's still in it.
Yeah, so
3 guys, 3 girls.
Yeah, he could easily win it as well. But no, I'm excited for this finish. It's going to be a really good final 6.
Absolutely. All right, don't forget, as always, you can follow us on the social medias: Twitter, Moncton Wildcast, Instagram, Wildcast Podcast, TikTok, Wildcast Podcast, and of course, like and subscribe on the old YouTube that you're watching right now. Don't forget to click the little bell so you don't miss anything. Quick question, sir. The PWHL started January 1st, and while I admit I have not watched any of it, you've seen the popularity on social media. You've seen the popularity, whether it was Toronto, Ottawa set a record, then Minnesota set a record, selling out the bottom bowl of the NHL arena that I cannot think of right now. So you
TD
see,
Place?
Huh?
Ottawa?
Ottawa sold it out, but then Minnesota, down in the States, wherever the Wild play, sold that out. So it's growing. It's what they needed to grow the women's hockey game. It's cool to see.
Yeah.
They had their rules come out. I think Kenzie Lalonde retweeted something from someone about some of their rules, and I want to talk about those. If we were commissioner for a day, or Mr. Cicchini is listening and he likes input of those rules, what would you bring to the QMJHL if you were listening, or you could talk to Mr. Cicchini? I will bring mine first.
Go ahead.
I would like to bring the rule that surfaced online: if you score shorthanded, the penalty's over.
Jailbreaker.
I
love it.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think it only should apply to the 2-minute minors.
Yes.
Maybe the 4, not the 5-minute majors or the 10-minute misconducts, but the 2-minute minors. Not even the 4-minute, unless you score. Like, if you score in the first 2 minutes, it drops down like it always does, and then, whatever. But the 2-minute minors, I think that would be such an advantage. You get the advantage of the power play as a team, but why do you continue to get the power play when you just let the team with 4 guys score on you? I think if they get one on you, you lost your chance to get that momentum. I think the momentum swings from a kill would be big already, but the momentum swings from actually scoring. And you look at this, if it was brought into the league now, I was looking at some of the shorthanded goals for, and now I'm not ready at the stat, but Shawinigan was leading with 12 shorthanded goals for the league. Victo's got 8, Quebec 6, Rimouski 6. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. Moncton's only got 5. It'll be interesting to see how many Shawinigan continues to get, because they just, which we'll talk about in a little place, Louis-Phil Denis had 8 of them. So that's a big get out of jail free card for Shawinigan. Now potentially a big get out of jail free card for Halifax, who only has 3 shorthanded goals on the year. So I think that's kind of a cool rule that if you're on the PK and you get that goal, your guy comes out on that 2-minute minor.
Yeah. No, I like the jailbreak. I like it. When I saw that, I was like, that's actually pretty clever. But I'm a big fan of the point system.
Yeah.
I like the 3 points for regulation win. 2 points for an overtime or a shootout win. 1 point for an overtime or shootout loss, and obviously 0 for a regulation loss. Yeah. And if you actually had that in the queue right now, Moncton would have a 5 or 6 point lead on Halifax for the division.
You showed me the
lead.
math before we got started.
I was like, that's 5 or 6 points. I mean, that's 2 games. Yeah, that's a two games up, and with 4 games in hand.
Yeah.
That's...
Which, again, is weird why we have so many games in hand.
And I don't think any other division would have any different first place team based on those rankings. Like, it's only the Maritimes division that would see a difference. So, I mean, that point system, it's obviously the Q's not going to do it. It would have to be a CHL thing. Yeah. But I think it's something they should seriously look at.
And we all know how well they are at putting the leagues together with a streamline, right?
Yeah.
And the reason that Moncton would lead with that 3-point system is because they have been hanging around this past week and getting some points without getting wins that we'll talk about. I know you had a quick question you wanted to bring up.
I did have a quick question. So I know we asked this kind of in the earlier in the season.
Yeah, sorry.
But now that
Pat and David.
Yeah, that's a different story.
My bad.
But now the NFL playoff picture, has been decided.
Yes.
Who's your Super Bowl pick?
My pick? Well, I do think Tampa can get past Philadelphia on Monday night. Yeah, I was going to say you might be wrong by the time, but we'll have another prediction show by the time we get out. I do think Tampa will get past Philadelphia. I don't think they'll get much past that. There's been a trend that they've noticed that the Super Bowl colors in the logo are the colors of the 2 teams that make the Super Bowl. So in 2021, when Super Bowl colors.
Really?
Yeah, in 2021 when the Rams won.
The logo colors are the colors of the teams.
Yeah.
that
So when the producer Kyle gave us the phone here. So in 2021, the Bengals and the Rams were yellow and orange.
Okay.
Kansas City and Philadelphia were green and red. And I'm as much as I'd love to say the purple and the red will be Baltimore and Tampa, I'm also a realist on that. I think it'll be Baltimore and San Francisco.
Interesting.
In this Super Bowl, but I mean, what are 3 things that wins in the playoffs? A running game and a defense. And both San Francisco, both Baltimore have it, but I think Baltimore, I think the Harbaughs sweep the championships in the month of January. Sadly, I think Jim Harbaugh will win the national championship, even though I want Washington to. And I think Jim Harbaugh will win the Super Bowl with the Baltimore Ravens.
Interesting. Well, Sunday night I watched Draft Day. So I'm, I think Vontae Mack and Ray Jennings are going to propel the Cleveland Browns to the Super Bowl championship.
And there's a lot, like, Joe Flacco is elite. There's a lot of people that are on that bandwagon the way they've been going. Someone had to tweet that the script was leaked, the NFL script, and it had Cleveland versus Detroit, which are 2 teams that have never been to a Super Bowl. There's a few other ones there, but that's one of those ones where it legit doesn't matter if those 2 teams make the Super Bowl. I know you're going for the Browns, but I wouldn't be upset with either one of those teams winning their first Super Bowl.
Well, I like when the first timers win. Yeah. That's right. Vontae Mack, Super Bowl MVP.
So we both go with.
No, he was a linebacker, North. Right? Ray Jennings.
Ray Jennings is
Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah. Do you know who Ray Jennings was in that movie?
Reggie Bush? No.
No, it was Adrian Foster, running back for the Texans.
Really?
Yep. And
Who was Bo Callahan?
Bo Callahan was it Superman? No, the Browns quarterback from the movie was Clark Kent from Smallville. I don't think Bo Callahan was anybody, but Vontae Mack was the actor that died that played the Black Panther. Chad Boseman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah. Fun fact
Interesting.
on that. They actually filmed that draft day like during the week of the NFL draft that year.
Was that right?
Like all the draft
I
stuff
didn't know
was there.
that.
It was
Yeah.
filmed there.
Huh.
And, it was filmed on that day. So you heard it here first. The one of the teams from the NFC North, who also was the only division to finish with all 4 teams over 500, will host the Lombardi in Las Vegas. Let's get to some news and notes from around the queue.
News and notes from around the queue.
There's a bit. So we'll get to some of the smaller stuff first. Scholastic Player of the Month for December, Riley Sampson.
Nerd.
We have a new Director of Communications and Content Creator for the QMJHL, Raphael Doucette. So looking forward to working with him as well. We want to thank Max for everything he did. Everything he did. See, I was in Alberta for too long. Everything he did. Everything he did for us to help legitimize us as a podcast in having us have Gilles Courteau on as well. Finally, media at the Q draft. So looking forward to working with Raphael. What do we got? Players of the month. We got some players of the month. We got some players of the week. I'm just trying to get to those players of the week. We did have a Wildcat on that. Just wait for the old website to roll up. Players of the week. Jacob Matthew Ramuski, 5 goals, 2 assists in 3 games. Daniel Borash of Randa, 2 goals, 5 assists, 2 games. Maxime Courcelle of Ramuski, 5 goals, 2 assists. We're going to see those guys this weekend in 3 games. Matthias Gauthier of Gatineau, a goal, 4 assists. Our guy at TMORN, a goal and 3 assists in 2 games. And Zach Peltier of Gatineau, 1-1 for a .935 save percentage. Your player of the week was Jacob Matthew Ramuski, 5 goals, 2 assists in those 3 games. People don't really care about that. They just want us to talk about the slowest trade period that I have been a part of in 5 years.
That was a scam.
The 1 week I'm off for 10, the 1 year I'm off for 10 days. And 1 trade happens while I'm at home, and 1 trade happens while I'm at work. And while I'm off, nothing. For the Wildcats anyways. There are obviously some other deals. It literally was basically nothing, radio silence, until Saturday afternoon.
Well, it was Saturday at
10 a.m.
12:30. That's when all the deals started to trickle in, and but yeah, you're right. That was the slowest, anticlimactic trade deadline I can never remember. It was not. It wasn't worth sitting in front of your computer and hitting refresh and turning on notifications for all these Quebec media guys. It wasn't worth it at all. It was a dud.
It felt like it. Even from our trade show, I think it was Jamie Tozer that mentioned we know about deals coming down the pipe.
Mm-hmm.
That Saturday of the last game of the regular season in the first half, deals are announced within a half hour, within an hour. We know what deals are happening, and there was a lot of speculation of 20-year-olds coming back to Halifax. There was a lot of speculation of 20-year-olds being moved all over the place, goaltenders being moved all over the place, and I just think it's a case of maybe GMs are just figuring out that we don't have to pour everything in. If we see 2 other teams or 3 other teams are going in, what's the point?
Well, I think the prices had to do
That
with it
too.
too, right? It just, let's be honest. I never thought Joe Henneberry would be worth 2 first-round picks, a second-round pick, and a prospect.
Yeah.
I never would have thought that. Like
No.
that's and Tristan Luneau only for a fifth. No, obviously it's
Steal.
Yeah.
Richie's notifications were off on that steal.
A thousand conditions attached to that.
My guy got traded, Alexi Bork.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah,
he was sent from Blainville to Victoriaville for. Now, he was one of the names I had on there. Didn't need to pay 2 seconds in 2025, 2026, and a fifth rounder for him.
No.
Which is a little odd that prices were what they were, considering this isn't a Memorial Cup year in Quebec. Like, that's what struck me as odd on these prices is, like, why are they paying so much? I mean,
the thing is that a lot of the big name players are on contending teams this year.
Yeah, that too.
Right? So they're just there wasn't as many, I guess, available players as there is, any other year. I think the draft is going to be a very busy time.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have Baie-Comeau trying to unload some guys.
Yeah.
You're going to have Halifax unloading some guys. You're going to have Drummondville unloading some guys. Victo unloading some guys. Rouen unloading some guys. There's going to be probably 5 or 6 teams that are going to be wanting to restock the cupboards.
Moncton's going to be loading up with some guys.
Yeah. And it's so I think the draft will be a very dramatic day. If or some of these teams will maybe want to hold on to their guys until next Christmas to try to get as many wins as possible. But I think you'll probably see some guys going to the draft the day before and the day of, and it's going to make for an exciting time for us, knowing that we'll be there. And that's just the prices, and none of the big names were available because they're all on contenders.
Yeah.
You had Noah Warren was traded at the draft. Ethan Gauthier was traded at the draft. Yeah. These deals are already made. Like, these are guys that would have been traded, but the deals were already done. So,
and I think too, a lot got hung up on Blainville with Gendron and Gatineau with Savoie. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the Tristan Luneau sucks for him, and hopefully Victo can get something out of him. And he, talking to a friend of the show, Johnny Rocket. Woo, happy birthday shout out, by the way. He just about died when he saw that GIF I made of him. He talked about the amount of conditions. Like, he's speculating, but obviously, if he plays this many regular season games, if he plays one playoff round, if he plays the whole playoffs, if he plays 10 games or something, like, it's going to be crazy the conditions that are going to come out of that one. But yeah, you look at the draft. I mean, Shawinigan, they got 2 firsts this year. Sherbrooke's got a first, 2 seconds. St. John's got 2 firsts. A team we're going to be battling with into a lot next year. Rimouski's got a first, 2 first, second. They got 2 firsts in 2025 they can play with. Moncton's got 2 firsts, 2 seconds, 2 thirds in 2026 that they can play with. So there is going to be probably a lot of movement at the draft. Like you said, Bathurst gave Johnny a heart attack waiting till pretty much 11:59 of the trade period to unload their 2 superstars, well, not superstars, but their 2 players, and come away like bandits. They've got 2 firsts in 2024, 3 firsts in 2025, 3 firsts in 2026. Like, they are built to contend in the next few years. And I defer to you, but I don't think this draft is as packed as last year's, so maybe that has a little bit something to do with it. Like, I don't know what this draft class is so far.
So it's not deep. I mean, there's some good players,
right?
But there's a fall off, and I think everyone's trying to. There's some teams that are trying to covet the that 14-year-old kid that's ripping up the Quebec League right now, Alexi Joseph. I mean, he's 6'3" and 100 and probably close to 200 pounds. And he's at 14, and he's ripping up the Quebec Major AAA right now. And
so is that going to be an exempt?
No, he didn't apply for it.
Wow.
So he's
a 2025.
Yeah, he'll be 2025 draft, and if he did apply for exceptional status, I think he's number 1 pick this year. And it's
Bathurst says Gatineau's first in 2025.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's some teams that I think are going to be coveting him as obviously as their pick, and he's going to be heavily scouted, heavily recruited. He's already physically ready for the Q, and he's only 14 years old.
Remember that time a couple of years ago when Gatineau had like 3 picks in the first 10 picks?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in 2025, they had Rennes first, Baie-Comeau's first.
Bathurst does?
No, Gatineau.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
They have 2 potential lottery picks with Rennes and Baie-Comeau with their 2025 first. So
so
that's how you flip that and get good pretty quick.
Yeah, and there's...
And Rimouski has Victos, which could be not the best, but also that's something that they're going to use for one of these teams to get a player knowing they host the Memorial Cup. So there's some teams that are going to be bidding on that and have some lottery chances.
Yeah, so you've got Tynan Lawrence, who's Josh Lawrence's brother, who's playing at Shattuck's this year.
Well, he'll be drafted by St. John.
Likely. There is Dylan Rossi, Jake's brother, who is apparently more leaning towards the Q than his brother did. There's a lot of, believe it or not, a lot of Quebec players actually went and played in Ontario this year. I'm not sure if it's to better competition, but they're doing fairly well. So there's a defenseman and a forward that I think are playing for the Quinty Red Devils that are making names for themselves.
So if they play in the Ontario Hockey Leagues, can they be drafted into the OHL?
No. If they played 2 years in Ontario, they could play. They could be.
So
OHL
we're not losing
draft.
our talent into the OHL. Okay.
No. It's one of those years where it's the World Youth Olympics.
Right.
So Tynan Lawrence is on Team Canada, and a defenseman, Cameron Chartrand, is another Quebec player. He's, I think, at Bishop's Kearney Prep School. So I think those are the only 2 Q draft eligible guys that are on the team this year. So those are again some names to keep an eye on. But it's gonna be really there's a drop off probably, I'd think, after. It's not as deep as last year,
right?
But there's probably a drop off after picks 8, maybe. Okay. So it's not a deep draft. So to see Moncton, probably not have a pick until maybe round 2 or round 3, you've got to kind of shorten your list and cross your fingers that
if they continue to have them, they've got Drummondville second, their own third,
should be towards the end,
and Shawinigan's third.
Yeah, so your first pick's probably going to be 30th,
yeah,
probably 30th overall.
Because I don't think anyone didn't report, so there's only going to be 18 picks in the first round.
Yeah.
So
you're probably going to be in that 30 to 33 range with your first pick. So you really got to eyeball a player that you like and make sure you're still available.
So we'll get to Moncton's 2 trades in the weekly rewind. But around the division, if you want to just solely based on trades, it feels like some of the teams got better. Halifax got better. They waited to make the blockbuster of the draft or of the trade period, signing Lamarne, Paichi, and Ponzetto. Our 2024 second that they acquired early on, and 2025 third for Louis Felix Dene and Jan Spreiner, who was acquired from Rimouski for Barbashev. As well, they got Peter Reynolds. Charlottetown moved out Brett Arsenault. Cape Breton, Thomas Sabolka was acquired after the World Juniors for a 2024 second and 25th second rounder. Bathurst obviously moving Donovan Arsenault, Ty Higgins moving out. And then St. John, I think, with the shock of the trade deadline, acquiring Tyler Peddle from Drummondville for Anthony Biakapatuka and Noah Reinhardt and a 2026 fifth overall. I mean, just talk about kind of your surprise or your thoughts on the Maritime Division trade-wise, including what we didn't do.
Yeah, so...
Lucas Romeo was sent from Charlottetown with a third and 26 to Cape Breton for Will Shields.
Yeah. So I don't know if when Anthony Stella called Drummondville's GM about Pedal. I don't know if Drummondville's GM was high as a kite or drunk as a skunk there, but he got fleeced. You know, I know Noah Reinhardt has had a pretty good season, a couple of seasons as a free agent, but Biaka Batuka, I don't even know if he's going to play in the queue.
Yeah.
And so essentially you're trading Noah Reinhardt and a pick. Is it a second?
5th in 2026.
Come on. You know?
Yeah.
Come on. That's
It's really hard not to look at trades and be like, why didn't we?
I mean, yeah.
No, I'm not going to
But again, I think
for fans, it's tough to look at trades and go, well, we could have made that. We could have done that.
I think we could have, but I think Moncton is a good thing going right now.
Yes.
And if you look at the past few champions in this league, it's the team that kind of kept their core together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, didn't go and make any drastic moves to essentially go all in. You kept your core together and you believed in your group, right? And like you see all the other, you know, the top 5 teams there, they all made moves to get better. Well, here's Moncton, who didn't do nothing, and they believe in your group, and so you're not trying to rebuild a chemistry or anything like that. You know, what you've got is what you've got.
Yeah.
And I really think that's going to be a favorable thing to Moncton in the second half, and when the playoffs roll around. It's because you know there were moves that were players brought in, right? And not to say that it messed up the room, but they didn't necessarily have a great second half.
Yeah,
right?
Up and down second. Yeah,
and makes me wonder if that was kind of in the back of the minds that you know, you don't want to mess with a good thing. If it's not broke, what is it? If it ain't
broke, don't fix
if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder if all these teams that are making moves, will it have a reverse effect on them come the playoffs?
Yeah, because Moncton made 8 deals last year.
Yeah. And that's what I mean. You know, it's you
Picks
gotta wonder.
A couple were just pick trades, but 2 players go out. 4 players go out. 2 players come in.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like a lot, but that does mess up a room.
Yeah, and that's it. Like you kind of. So I think that's kind of an advantage for Moncton. You know, you're not messing up the room. You know your group, and you're happy with your group. Go out and win.
Yeah.
But really, I think Bathurst and Gordy Dwyer, in terms of the sellers, I mean, he's
big winner.
Yeah. And just based on moves, I think Halifax. I think the moves that they made were plan Bs. You know, I think they had.
I think the first one was plan A to bring in Reynolds, and say like, you know, if you use the no trade clause, and you know we're building, we got Dume, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and then the other trade was once they found out about Dume was plan B. I think big time that was plan B. We talked about Moncton, so I will say. They moved out Sidney Delorier for a 4th in 2024, and then the big one, they moved a 2nd in 2024, a 1st in 2025, and a 3rd in 2025 to Halifax for their 1st, 2nd, and 3rd in 2026. We'll get into what we think those will be in a little bit, but I think Reynolds for Halifax was plan A. I think once they kind of found out about Dume, that might have Denis and Spraydar were kind of plan B.
Is it you know, I think it goes back to what we heard at the final home game is that there was a Justin Robidas rumor to Halifax.
Oh yeah, in terms of
right.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder if maybe he was plan A, and when they found out that he wasn't coming back to juniors, Peter Reynolds was plan B.
And they didn't have the pieces to go get Gendron.
Yeah.
Or Savoie with all the conditions.
And I think their Saturday plan A was Rollins, from Bathurst and maybe a Henneberry. You'd think maybe they're trying to get both guys.
Yeah.
Right? But just in that case, Halifax would have had to pay 4 first-round picks. And
what was going on with Marty that said they needed 2 forwards?
That was their...
Titter or whatever his name is?
Tipper LeBlanc.
Tipper, yeah. He said they got to go out and get
basically
2 forwards.
Two top 6 forwards.
And that's what they did.
That's what they did.
It's
I'm not denying that, but maybe it's the Wildcat fan in me, but I was honestly underwhelmed at what Halifax did.
Well, and I don't think they had a lot to do with, right? Like, I think a lot of people were, well, if you move LaRue whenever they had the chance to move him and get some assets back for him, maybe they're in a better condition to go get John Drawn and Angus Booth and Savoie and whatever. But yeah, I think when you say plan A was maybe Robidaw, that makes sense. I think one of the underrated teams in this in terms of being a quote unquote buyer is Cape Breton. Every time we played Charlottetown, Lucas Romeo seemed to be a name that was coming up all the time. Every team needs a quarterback on a power play. They went and got Saboka, who is I don't think he's missed a game in 2 or 3 years other than the World Juniors. I think I saw a tweet about that. So you get a reliable guy that can play with Lavoie, that can run a power play. They'll have some decisions to make because Braden Schmidt will be a 20 and Saboka will be a 20 next year for him. So he'll be taking up 2 roster spots just like Barbashev was for us this year.
Well, I think
but
the way
they've got some
Saboka
decision,
played,
but they've got to make some moves this year to try and make some noise in the playoffs.
I think the way Saboka played at the World Juniors gets him a pro contract in Czech Republic next year.
Possibly, yeah.
So that's, in that case, Cape Breton paid 2 seconds for essentially a rental.
Yeah.
You know, and
which goes back to speaking of a high market.
Yeah. And the move itself, if he's back next season, it's a great trade.
Yeah.
But if he's only here for 5-6 months, it's I don't like the move for Cape Breton.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't think Cape Breton's big moves were made at the draft. You know, that's another thing. If Cam McDonald would have been available at Christmas, well, he would have been another name that was traded. If Cole Burbridge, was available, he would have been another name that was. These are that kind of takes away what I meant earlier when I said some of these big names are already traded.
Yeah.
Noah Warren was traded. It was there's moves that were already made that would have made it a more exciting trade period, but just the deals were already done. And so Cape Breton, I think they brought in some good. Lucas Romeo's off to a really good start with them. So Balco, we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
They didn't overdo it.
They didn't
go
overdo
for
it.
4 guys or 5 guys to try and win one round. Like
They
they made nice subtle moves. They went and got people that their GM told you they were going to go get. A top 6 forward, Lucas Romeo can be that. And they wanted a guy on the back end that could score and be a quarterback power play, and that's what Saboka is. And we would have loved to have a player like that here, but it wasn't gonna. Didn't want to pay that price. And you spoke to it a little bit earlier. I had said week after week after week, fans, do not get your hopes up for big game hunting.
Yeah.
I didn't think we were gonna make 2 deals, 1 player, 1 draft pick. I said 3. So if you took the under, congratulations, you won the fact that you took the under. I do agree with you wholeheartedly. I think it is the fact that they made a few moves last year and it was an up and down second half. And look, this team's 22-8. They are 21-0 when they lead after 40 minutes. They are the number 1 power play in the league. Richie's built a team that is winning, and their goal is to get to the 3rd round, and to do that you have to win the division, and they've split it right now. They're 2-2. They have a chance to have the division lead this weekend, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But as much as everybody wanted deals, I think you go with the guys that got you there, and I think looking at the way that, and the team didn't necessarily play bad, but you could tell Miles Mueller was missing from the club. You could tell Sump was missing from the club. Here's hoping he got his equipment back. Thanks, Air Canada. I think that was I think the best move was potentially the moves that Richie didn't make, and that was moving Miles Mueller for a haul, given the prices, knowing what kind of glue room guy he is. Moving other players or bringing players in by maybe overpaying when I'm sure it looked real good to have 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and 2/3 in 2026 that you could potentially go move one of those or 2 of those for a player maybe this year to help you, but they're not in the rental market. They're a young team that's playing right now at 24-8 together. That's going to grow together next year. It's just I just don't I don't think Richie had a terrible trade period. I think he had exactly what he wanted to do. I think he had a plan. Him and Rick had a plan, and they put it together.
Yeah, it's hard to know that. I mean, it's the draft pick trade is. Some people will be annoyed with it because it's pretty much allowing Halifax to get better, which they did. They used a pick of ours to get Peter Reynolds, and they used a pick of ours, I think, in the Schwinningen trade.
Yeah,
sure, but that trade's not over.
No,
and that's there's slap me across the face if I'm wrong, but that trade's not over.
It's
there's
tune into that episode if he is wrong. But
there's that'll be done at the draft.
Yeah, for a team that doesn't have a first round pick and is hosting the draft.
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen, we have a trade to announce.
I mean, let's just say the ironic thing of all of this, and I'm just gonna spitball something out here. What number was Nathan Dubray?
6.
Interesting.
Go look at a roster with the number 6 on it.
There's a player on Halifax that wears number 6.
Correct.
That's interesting.
Yep.
I wonder if... No, there's no way.
Well, why would you quote unquote release a guy just for the hope that there's a player on another team with that same number? Right? It doesn't make a lot of sense.
That's interesting.
Yeah, but
hey, what do we know? We're just a couple of guys.
We don't get paid to do this. In fact, we pay to do this. But I guess who was a name that didn't get moved that you were kind of shocked? Because for me, it's the guys from the Birds, Israel Minsicum and Samuel St. Hilaire. I think those are the 2 names that I was just like, oh, okay. There was a goalie market. There was a 20-year-old market. I think out of the division, that's probably the 2 names that I were a little bit shocked didn't get moved.
Yeah, that surprised. And Rollins and Bathurst, another one surprised me. And even Josh Fleming in Bathurst. I thought him as a goalie would have been a solid backup for
Halifax.
Any of them, really.
Yeah. But I think that the way Milner played for Halifax, I think they've got the confidence. They build a better team around him. He's not going to play a whole lot. They don't have a quote-unquote tough schedule in the second half, so he might not play a whole lot. But, yeah, I think there was Michael Horth from Charlottetown. I mean, for a team in Charlottetown, and you look at their picks.
Halton was asking for
3, 5. They got in 2024. They don't have a first, a second, a fourth, a sixth. I mean, you got to kind of restock those cupboards, and maybe they will at the draft. But Michael Horth probably was a name that could have fetched some assets. One of your backup, Bickle, could have fetched some assets in the backup goalie market, which I don't think there was much of a backup goalie market as we maybe thought there might be. But a little surprised that Horth is still there.
Yeah, that's another one. I know that obviously our Eagles insider, Andrew Barrington, let me know that the Eagles had an offer on him, but the Eagles had an offer on every player in the trade period, according to him.
Well, I'd hope so.
According to him, Moncton made an offer. I'm not sure how he would know that for Horth, Not sure how he would know that.
Hashtag insider.
He is very much an insider. That Talon blog man has taken off. Horth, Mianscom, Rollins, St. Hilaire. Those are, I think, some of the obvious names that should have got traded. And, I mean, a surprise trade for me. The Pedal one was a bit of a surprise. Yeah. But considering the breakout season that Vince Ellie was having in St. John, I did not think that he'd be moved. I think he's one of those guys he was actually contributing offensively for the Sea Dogs on a nightly basis, and to see him go to Shawinigan was that one caught me off guard for sure.
I think surprise wise, probably where is it? The goalie swap. Shawinigan and Chicoutimi, Mathis Fernandez and Remy De La Fontaine. I just thought Shawinigan would keep him. He would be one of their 20-year-olds next year, so I don't know what their situation is, but I thought that swap kind of caught me off guard, and it'll be an interesting second half. The top 4 teams, they moved to get better. Halifax was one of them, and Moncton on the outside didn't make any moves, but hey, they're 24-8 for a reason, and they're having a good season. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes we talked about it in the 2019-2020 season. How many moves is too many moves? And sometimes the best deals are the ones you don't make. And I think that could be what fuels Moncton in the playoffs.
And to make it, Richie Thibault, he mentioned he wanted to get older.
Yes, he did.
Well, folks, going into the trade period, Moncton's average age was 17.88 years of age.
Right.
It is now 17.96.
Nice. So he accomplished his goal.
He is a man of his word.
Yeah, he accomplished.
He got older.
He accomplished his goal. Absolutely. So, top prospects games rosters were announced December 19th, just as we got off the air for our break. It is January 24th. You might want to get tickets if you're thinking about going, because it's almost a complete sellout. Shockingly, no Wildcat players were named.
What?
Well, we kind of thought Keegan Warren might sneak in there, but he did not. Dan Lacroix will coach Team Red. He will be joined by guest coach Gerard Gallant, and Team White will be coached by Jim Holton. He will have a guest coach, Mike Kelly. So look for this thing to be a Team Red lead. Team White will come back. They will go to overtime. They will go to a shootout, because that's how Charlottetown and Moncton play. So if their coaches are coaching, that's how this thing is going. And we obviously don't know Team Red, Team White, who's playing for who, but you know who's going to be there to cover it? These guys. All right, let's get into the Weekly Rewind.
Weekly Rewind.
Oh, a bit of a longer episode, but that's what happens when you take 2 weeks off. Wildcats go into the past couple weeks, going 3-1, 0-2 on bringing the record to 24, 8-2, and 3, 51 points on the season. Good enough for third in the conference, second in the Maritime, which could be tied by the time we get to the weekend games. Let's go all the way back to December 28th.
The hell we are. No.
I don't even remember the game.
We are not doing that. Nope.
Imagine we go game by game.
Too much alcohol consumed over the holidays
to
even remember an ounce of what those.
My favorite part was the time difference. I'm like doing the game day things. I'm like, why am I doing this at 11 o'clock? Oh, that's what I'm doing at 11 o'clock in the morning. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon in New Brunswick. Yeah, we're not going game by game. It's 5 games in 2 weeks. So looking back over the stretch, wasn't the greatest end of 2023. Hey, they're undefeated this year. They're 2-0. You could tell, like I said, they missed Miles in the top 6.
Yep.
The power play keeps humming along, and basically they took advantage of a depleted Halifax team, which is exactly what they needed to do against a depleted Halifax team that was running, 9 forwards. One of them was a converted defenseman for the night. 8 defensemen and backup goaltender in Milner. I think Furlong was the only one that played out of their World Juniors, but that's what the team did, exactly what they needed to do. The first game against Bathurst, first game after the holidays, I'm throwing that one away. St. John, they rebounded. Charlottetown is Charlottetown, and they're undefeated in 2024. I think so far you're happy with that little stretch because they continued to stay within striking distance of Halifax by getting to overtime, getting to shootouts, and getting wins when they needed to.
Yeah, I think the those after Christmas, those games between Christmas and New Year's, I think the trade period's always on the players' minds.
Yeah.
And I think that was kind of the result of the game against Bathurst was maybe too much turkey, for all we know, but there were some questionable efforts, especially during when the trade period was ongoing, and
because they made the one deal on the 22nd, and then they hadn't really done anything up until that game.
Yeah.
So you come out of the trade freeze, and the players know when the trade freeze is, and I mean they made the one deal on the 29th, but definitely that first one back.
Yeah, it was. I think it's always in the back of their minds, and now that it's over, you can kind of focus on the task at hand, and I think you kind of picked up on that. Okay, the players there's no more stress, there's no more anxiety of a trade period, and it showed in against Halifax and against St. John, and for me, it's still a matter of having the foot on the gas as soon as the puck's dropped. And I think before we recorded this, Adam, we went online and we looked at the last time the Wildcats scored a goal less than 5 minutes, 5 minutes into the game, and it was that game against Chicoutimi. Yeah. There was one other game where it was 5:01, but if you want to include that, so be it. But in the first 5 minutes of a game, there's it was Chicoutimi, and you want to be able to set the tone and get going here early in the games, and it's that's really my only concern right now is just the whole starts thing. It's still an issue.
That was an excellent player interview, by the way. Yeah, obviously you want to just keep going, get on top of them early, and get things going. And
you got to make sure everybody's contributing and all lines are firing. And
you know what? That's what we did. We didn't come out great in the first 20, and we just kind of rebounded in the intermission and kind of kept going there. So
had a good speech in the locker room, and coach threw a garbage can at the wall, and kind of gave us that motivation to come out the next 40 and really put it to him.
Yeah, ding ding. Yeah, and I wonder too if after the new year, all the fans were. Are we going to make this deal? Are we going to make this deal? Are we going to go with this player? Are we going to have this player? And maybe Richie sat the team down in the room and said, none of you are going anywhere. Yeah. We're not bringing anyone in. You got to this point, finish it. And maybe that had a good week of practice knowing, it just takes the pressure off. They're not going to move a 20-year-old out for a 20-year-old. They're not going to move young guys out for depth guys in the bottom six. Like maybe he sat him down and said, you're not going anywhere. No one's coming in. This is your group. Finish it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, that sold out game on New Year's Eve, it would have been nice to get to it in overtime just for the pop.
Yeah.
But
how was that event, by the way?
Pretty good. I think they did the whole fireworks thing was pretty good.
Nice night for it.
It was a really nice night for it, yeah. But I think it would have been nice to get the win, especially in overtime, just for the pop.
Yeah.
Probably the roof would have blown off, and it took a while. I mean, I was like, they're going to get shut out, aren't they? They're going to get shut out in front of a sold-out crowd, and I'm like, okay. But then they got their couple of goals to tie it up, and, it sucks that Charlottetown tied it late. Even Moncton had a power play in overtime, and it was slap shots and wrist shots off the knee pads and the shin guards and this and that. They couldn't get a quality shot on net. Whatever, it's but no, in all honesty, we got 4 games in hand against Halifax.
And we don't know how.
I don't understand.
We're going to use one of them up on Wednesday, but
so Wednesday's their first game in hand. Yeah, and that's our opportunity to go into a tie. And I think we have more regulation wins, do we not?
I'm getting there.
So that's the tiebreaker. We
got 23. Halifax is 18.
Yeah, so you got to take advantage. This is the moment where you got to take advantage of your games in hand. This is one of them. Saturday night, Halifax is playing. Sunday afternoon, we're playing them.
Yeah. And it won't be a depleted lineup.
We're going to be catching Rimouski on a 3-3.
Are they really?
Yeah, they're playing Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We got to take advantage. That's like this. These are games where you have to go in. You have to set the tone. You got to put your foot down on the gas. Get the wins that you need. Because you know, there was a couple moments, you know, that I've already felt, oh crap, here we're going to have a second half collapse like last year, and just get the win Wednesday is what you need, because that's going to get you the division tie, and for that matter the tiebreaker.
Yeah,
we're getting Rimouski going to 3-3, going to be tired, and you just gotta, because Quebec's in town. I think they're in Halifax on Saturday. That's probably going to be an easy win for the Mooseheads. You really got to take advantage of these.
Rimouski's in Halifax?
No, Quebec's in Halifax on
Quebec,
Saturday.
yeah.
So you really got to take advantage of.
Come on, Philly on.
Yeah, really. So you really got to take advantage of in Bathurst on Wednesday.
What are the odds we don't get to see that guy?
Take advantage of Rimouski playing a 3-3, and you know, just that's all I got to say. Just
and Rimouski's got St. John, Charlottetown, us.
Yeah.
So they got an even tougher. I thought maybe it might be Bathurst that they had.
Yeah.
I didn't know because sometimes teams play the Charlottetown and the Nova Scotia teams, and sometimes they play all three of us, and so probably get Quentin Miller. He'll probably play one of the.
Yeah, he'll play
two.
probably Thursday and Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter who they play. They have to take advantage of a team
Yep.
on a 3-3, and you know, hopefully with Timbits weekend this weekend, the building is.
Is it actually?
Yeah, it's Timbits weekend this weekend.
Oh wow.
You know, hopefully the building is full again, and you know, anyone listening, this is the team that's hosting the Memorial Cup instead of us.
Yeah.
Like, let's take 4 points from them this season and continue to do it next year. But you have to get that game in Bathurst, and they were undefeated, and that they lost 6-2, and it was the game after the trip, but you still went into Bathurst and lost 6-2. They ran your show.
Yeah.
It was 6-0, I think, in that last one. So
you know, there's two of their key players are gone now.
yeah,
You know, Higgins is gone, Henneberry's gone.
we're 7-2 against this team in 10-3 in the past 2 years against this team, and you know, one of the losses was the last time, and it was the after trade period. So it is what it is. But Moncton's been able to control a lot of this quote unquote series. So go get the 2 points now, and be tied. And Rimouski and Halifax, that's not going to be easy, because then this January is a lighter schedule. They don't have as much in this because of the top prospects game, but February is jam packed with. Baie-Comeau, Chicoutimi, Drummondville, Cape Breton, who got better. 2 against Halifax, Baie-Comeau, and 2 against Charlottetown. Like, that's a tough February. So these are the kind of points you want to kind of catch up on. And, you know, I had a tweet last night talking about the article about goaltender potentially playing too much. And, you know, a lot of people thought that Warren would go against St. John, and, you know, it seems like every time we play a back-to-back or 3-4 or whatever, it seems like it's St. John that's on the back end of that, and you don't want a goalie against that. You want him to play better teams, so I wouldn't totally be shocked if Warren plays against Bathurst to give, you know, Steinman the complete week off. Now, he hasn't played as much as the other top contenders. He's not in the top 5 in minutes, so he is playing a stretch, but you have to find that time to let Warren play. And, you know, we've seen it where they've run that number 1 goalie, and I know I don't want him to run Steinman until they get a playoff spot and then just go, okay, Warren, you're going to play most of these games. Both goalies have the ability to steal and win games with the team in front of them, and I think that needs to be not a bone of contention, but that needs to be something in the room. They got 8 games left in January. I don't see why Steinman doesn't go 5 and Warren goes 3.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Warren does have to play against Bathurst, and that's just to give Steinman the break, because those Rimouski and Halifax games are going to be huge. But really, it's
and if it's Steinman and Warren gets the 3-3, right? Like I don't hate that either.
I've said it before. You know, it's been a while since I've been this confident in you know, the goalie tandem with Moncton, and it's and I'm sticking to it. You know, there's I have faith in Steinman, and I have just as much faith in Keegan Warren going in there. So for me, it doesn't matter who's Who's the Nets? I think they've got a good chance at the win.
Yeah, I do too. Go team. Yeah, they definitely do, and this is a stretch where you can get to Halifax, and then as long as you're tied with them, then you can just match a win for win, or OT loss for OT loss, or loss for loss. You can able to match them. If you're always consistently chasing them, then those nights where they play, you get a little bit farther, and then those games in hand become much more pressure packed instead of, well, if we win this one, we're 2 points ahead of Halifax because we got a game in hand. So use one of these to get to the tie and then go from there. Are you ready for everyone's favorite part of the show?
Yes, of course I am.
Perfect. Let's go ahead and do that.
Eric Murray, Realtor, buy a house from him. Stick Tap of the Week.
I don't know if you saw his post, but lately it's buy a lot from him.
Yeah.
He's got all these lots for sale. Yeah. So Stick Tap. I'm going to try to get through this one. So obviously last week we lost a young member of the hockey community. And, it's I was just blown away at the amount of people that stepped up to help out. There's this is a 5-year-old kid who was probably looking forward to the Timbits weekend, at the Avenir this weekend, and it's they had a GoFundMe that they were looking for $10,000, and last time I checked, they were close to $70,000, and there was Dwaran's sports shop in St. John that were doing pucks with Tate's name on it and his jersey number 6 on it, and those sold out fairly quickly. And over the weekend there was 50-50 draws at all the minor hockey league games in Moncton and St. John and Fredericton and all over the province. So it's honestly, it's more just the community stepping up in the wake of just parents' worst nightmare. Really, it's for me, it's close to home just because the Tate went to school at Avery School, and the older brother was I think same age as Avery or a year older, so it kind of hits close to home when you hear something like that. And I don't know if they'll do this, but I know the Wildcats 50-50 goes to the the Players Education Fund. I wouldn't mind if they maybe took this weekend's games and made it towards gave the donations to the Hughes family. So just the community stepping up and helping out the Talia and Craig during this time is pretty heartwarming. And I want to get this done as soon as I can because I'm not doing very well. You can kind of hear it in my voice. And just honestly, the community stepping up, I think, is worthy of the Stick Tap of the Week.
The Stick Tap of the Week, sponsored by Eric Murray Real Estate with the RE/MAX Avante team. If you're looking to buy or sell a home in the Greater Moncton or surrounding area, make sure to check him out on social media or give him a call at 506-863-8802.
I didn't know you were going to go so heavy. So.
Yeah, sorry, man. I kind of knew you were.
Good. I got an honorary Stick Tap. It goes to you.
Yeah.
For giving Layla and I the Air Canada passes at the airport. I'm going to bring some levity to that. I wish I would have texted you about a half hour before we got dinner on ourselves. And I had to pay for it because obviously in those lounges you don't have to pay for it. So my honor Stick Tap goes to you for stepping up with with the passes. So I didn't know you were going there.
Yeah, sorry, man.
No, it's all good. I should have asked before.
You probably thought I was doing Burger Fest.
I did.
But, I was
like, he's going to do Burger Fest. I'm going to do the honorary Stick Tap. We're going to have a laugh. And 90% of the time, before we hit the record button, I go, you got your Stick Tap? Yep. And then you kind of tell me what it is sometimes. This time, I did not go, you got your Stick Tap, because It's Burger Fest week, so.
Yeah, no,
But you definitely get the honorable stick
I
tap for allowing me to sit comfortably for 7 hours in the Toronto airport.
No, I was going to use the passes, but I never got the chance to use them. So, because I think we thought our flight was at 9 p.m. Was it? No, it was. I forget what happened, but we ended up leaving a lot later than I thought we would.
Right.
Which we got to the airport and we literally had a chance to sit down for half an hour and then had to go to the gate. So we didn't have the chance to use the passes, and I thought, well, you know what? I never used them. Maybe I will use them. I didn't know how they worked, so I'm glad they worked.
Yeah, they did. Fun fact, in the Montreal airport for the 4 hours, we went to the Air Canada because she's got the Avion credit card. Mm-hmm. Not the Avion, the whatever the Air Canada one is. We got all the way up there, scanned our boarding pass. Oh, can I see the credit card that you have? Looks at it. She's like, yeah, it's this one. Looks at it. Oh, sorry, no. For those on YouTube, you'll understand this. Pulls out a pack. You need this one. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? It's just like a different TD or Air Canada type credit card or whatever. But I'm like, really, bro? Like, you had to go through 7 of the credit cards to get to the one that just slightly didn't look like, and I'm not paying to go into the lounge. So I'm thinking you were going Burger Fest. I'm still going to give you the honorable because it was awesome. So I appreciate that.
Honestly, it was a pivot that I had to say it. I had to get something out there. And,
yes.
No, in all honesty, I really hope that there's at least
something.
You know, it doesn't have to be both games where the 50-50 profits go to the family, but
it's the Timbit weekend.
Timbit's weekend. Yeah. It's going to be a full billing.
Yeah.
Just one game. One game will be fine, but if they can do both, that's even better.
Yeah, it's you don't always have the best. You can't always do right, but you can at least one time, and doing a 50-50 one time to a family will go a long way to this fan base for you. So let's get to the Wildcat of the week, presented by Rosemary Lynn Massage and Spa. Right now, till January 18th, they've got the flash sale with Micah or Mika. I can't tell by the logo there. Book a shellac pedicure and get a shellac manicure for only $10. Excludes nail art as well. They've got the loyalty card. Book 9 services and get 1 free. Call, take advantage of it. Call 506-830-1224 or book with them in person at 1224 Mountain Road. Man, I kind of want to go with the guy that made it on the team of the week, but I'm going to pivot, and I'm going to go with the guy who was missing one of his brothers, one of the guys he loves. He missed Miles Mueller for a couple weeks, and it very much showed. Vincent Collard had 3 goals and 1 assist in the 2 games this past weekend, bringing his season total to 21. We were told he was going to score 30 goals this year, and we both kind of weren't sure. And, so your Wildcat of the week is number 15, Vincent Collard, 3 goals.
Cousin
1.
Vinny.
As he got his buddy back. Guys he loves him. Lounsbury, Mueller, they had 1 practice. They love each other. They had a fantastic week getting back to it. So don't forget, like we said, it is Timbits weekend this weekend at the Avenir Center. So if you want to get the tickets, get them now as well. I was in Needs today. If you go there till February 1st, the team is not paying me to say this. You can vote for your favorite local sports team. And the team who receives the most votes will attend a Moncton Wildcats game with their teammates, coaches, and families. To vote, please go to Moncton or to Needs Convenience or Moncton Wildcats on Facebook or needs.ca, and you can vote. They're not paying me to say that, but I just noticed it on my way home, and I was like, hey, that's kind of cool. Burger Fest.
Yes.
We buried the lead on the whole show. Your thoughts? You excited? You ready?
Yeah, there's a...
So much for...
Is it already started?
I can't remember.
Anyways. There's a few that are looking good. I think there's the one at the local. Much obviously that's a ghost kitchen one, but even that sounds good. I'll have to look over the list. Some of them don't look appetizing.
January 12th to to 18th. So
20. Okay.
this Friday.
So this Friday,
Friday.
will be.
So we'll have a couple reviews on next week's show.
We will for sure. Yeah, there will be some.
That'll be your
reviews.
stick tap next week
Yeah.
for show.
I'll be. The workouts will have to be pretty much belly focused.
Yeah.
So no, there's. We'll definitely have some reviews for next week.
Yeah, and for a guy who eats like a 9-year-old and only likes cheese on his burgers, it's going to be tough to navigate these burgers with weird things on them. But yeah, that's it for Jeremy. I'm Adam. See you guys next week.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Wildcast podcast. Follow us on social media at Moncton Wildcast.